the practice and the experience of my life shows that you should not try to break the wall. You should sit and think how to overcome this obstacle. It's not only for them to feel comfortable among them, to communicate. It's not only to keep their culture, language, and traditions, we help, but it's also to feel part of bigger Cyprus. The first one and the changing point was when President Papadopoulos, during one of interviews, I was taking interviews from all ministers, all presidents.
I'm Farah Shammas. Welcome to Hotel Talk. We hope you enjoy listening to this friendly conversation between people connected by real life in hotels. Welcome back, everyone, to Hotel Talk, and thank you so much for listening. We are so excited to have with us today the beautiful Natalia Kardash, who is the founder of Successful Business Leaders Club and also the editor-in-chief for VESTNIK KIPRA, which I think most people know her for. She's a very well-known figure in the Cyprus Business Community Hub and a very valued member of our community, I'd like to say as well. So Natalia, thank you so much for being here on Hotel Talk.
Thank you for inviting me. For me, it's an honor because I saw your previous podcasts and I really like how you talk to people. I can see that you are with all your heart want to take the best of these people to tell their life story. And that's amazing.
Thank you so much, my dear. Well, yes, it's all genuine, really. And I'm so lucky to get to not just meet, because I know everyone who's on the podcast episodes, but really to get the chance to talk to them, to let other people see these great sides of them, for me as well, to learn so much. And also, it's not just an advert. It's not about what they've achieved or, accolades or their business profile. It's really who they are behind all of that and what their drivers are and what made them them. And of course, the hotel hotels in general bring everyone together. And you and you've done so many events here at St. Raphael Resort, and I'm very lucky to have attended so many events, not just here, but also in other hotels. So, you couldn't not be on Hotel Talk.
All right. I'm glad to be here.
So why don't we start then with your story and the person behind, the true Natalia, behind the business leader and this dynamic powerhouse that you are, that everybody knows. Let's go back to the beginning and really learn who you are and where you grew up and what really made you you and gave you your drive and your vision to do everything you've done.
It's interesting if to think about what made me me. It was always something that I did not expect to happen. So we plan our life. We think that we want this and I wanted to become a doctor. I wanted to become a doctor and that's how my life will be. And then I became a teacher. Yeah, it was by accident, but I cannot imagine that something could be better. I really love teaching. I love my profession. Then I thought when I graduated the university and I stayed there in the university to teach, to make my PhD, to continue teaching, being a professor in the university, I thought like this. But then Cyprus came to my mind and it was unexpected. And again, misfortune. My daughter was sick and doctors advised us to change the climate. So Cyprus was one of the choices and it was my first choice. We didn't have to have visa when travel to Cyprus. I was born in the south of Russia on the Black Sea. So my native town is called Anapa. And it's like Limassol, but on another sea, Black Sea. So seaside place, a lot of tourists, lifetime in summer, perfect in winter, everything dies, something like this. And when I came to Limassol for the first time, I felt I'm home from the day one.
Wow.
It looked so similar. Even the soil, even the mountains which we have next to Kourium, they remind me of my native town. So it was love from the first sight. But here in Cyprus, nobody needed a teacher of French with no permission to work. My profession is a teacher of foreign languages. So it was an opportunity, a possibility to be a PR manager in a newspaper. And it also was an advantage, an interesting adventure, because the newspaper was in Arabic language. It was the first attempt. Here, there are a lot of people who speak Arabic, but it was the first attempt at that time, 23 years ago, to create a newspaper for these people in their native
did they
language.
need a French speaker?
Because their founder was from Egypt.
Yeah.
And my first visa, was made as a journalist for an Egyptian newspaper, so I could be a reporter, reporting in French and sending it to Egypt. And plus, I was a PR manager here, helping him with his newspaper. And that, again, transformed me as a professional. So my childhood years were like, I will be a teacher, I will be a doctor, and I was learning a lot about Chinese and Indian medicine, because in my imagination, that was a correct approach to the health of a human being, not to have tablets to treat symptoms, but to heal the whole body.
Heal the core.
Yes, and I was pretty sure that when I become a doctor, that will be the path I will follow. I need to have proper education, traditional education as a doctor. But then I will try to heal the whole body, not one organ. And it was by accident that I started to teach, and I loved it so much that I became a teacher. And again,
well, they say there's no accidents, don't they? How did you go from this, concrete path or vision that you had to ending up teaching? How did that unfold?
I got a very bad mark at one lesson. I had, in the Russian Soviet system, the highest mark is 5. So you get 5, you are good. You get 2 or 3, you are bad. So I had 5 on all the subjects, but then we had a new teacher of French. She came and she put 2 for me. 2, it's like if here in Cyprus we have 20, it's like maybe 7.
Yeah.
I was like shocked because I have 5 everywhere. I'm, the best student on my, not only in the class, but in the age of
Maybe
group.
she just didn't like you.
Now I understand she didn't, but she put 1s, and then I studied everything. I was absolutely ready for the lesson, and I got 3, but I needed 5. And I was so much upset. I was at that time 10 years old. I was so much upset that I started to learn the language. I subscribed myself to courses by correspondence. It was famous at that time, to have these courses, because in my small town, like Limassol, compare Russia is big, there were no French language groups or courses.
Yeah.
So I studied in Kiev. And by correspondence, I was studying in the state courses of foreign languages. And in 2 years, I spoke French better than she spoke French. And when she became pregnant, she already got so much respect in my efforts. She said, could you replace me with the children of 10 years old? So I was just 12. And I replaced her at lessons of French language. So I was teaching in my school. In the morning, I was studying. And then the second shift, I was teaching.
So you see, she actually did you not a disservice, a service by, it's just amazing how life can unfold and having, in a way, someone bully you. And yet that's what interests me is your determination and your character from the age of 10, not to be defeated, not to say, well, that's it. People can be that mean, or I can fail, and just, lying down, standing up again, fighting and say, you know what, I'm going to prove you wrong and I'm going to do this.
Yes,
and that's amazing.
That's when you asked what made me.
Yeah.
These challenges. Because when I don't think I'm the only person who, when this person sees obstacles, does not stop, but looks for solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And I always, the practice and the experience of my life shows that you should not try to break the wall. You should sit and think how to overcome this obstacle. So by the age of 16, I had already a document, state-proof documents that I'm a teacher of French. And I would stop there because by that time, in addition to teaching French in school, I was also teaching dance in the evening, ball dance. Waltz, foxtrot, tango, samba, rumba, cha-cha-cha, all this stuff.
Wow, Natalia, that's it. I'm calling you after this and we'll have some dance lessons.
Okay. Yes, I was studying myself from the age of 7. So by the age of 16, I was teaching. And I was so successful at that time in my small town, compare Limassol. Yes, that everyone knows me. And I had so good students. I earned enough So I was studying at school in the morning. I was teaching French in the afternoon. And from 5, 6 o'clock, I was teaching dance. And I had enough money, more than my mom was earning. And I was saying to her, that's it. I will stay like this. I like it. I have both diplomas. I will continue. She persuaded me to go to the university, and I'm very thankful to her, because university degree is not only knowledge. When I was 16, I thought I have the knowledge. I speak French. Why I need university? But it's also a state of mind. It's also structure of your mind. You learn how to think, and you start seeing many more opportunities in life. So that was also
and how to apply your
important.
knowledge.
Yeah, that was very important. And that's why when I was studying in the university, I moved to another town, city, 1 million people, Krasnodar. It's the south of Russia. It's the capital of the south of Russia. So big change for me. I got married. I delivered a baby. So I had a baby in my hands. I had new marriage. I had successful career in the university. They invited me to stay. It's not that I graduated and I left. They said stay. So everything was good except of the health of my baby. She had asthma. And she was 3 years old when doctors said that we have to change the climate. No other option. And mountains or sea, that should be just different climates. And Cyprus wasn't their list. So, okay, I stopped doing everything I was doing. I came here, and the career changed. So after this Arabic newspaper, after 1 year working there, I made a career there as well. I became the director of that newspaper. And we already had not only one newspaper, we put English, Arabic language is read from one side.
Yeah.
English was read from this side. So it was like two sides. And because I am Russian speaker, we put in the middle the Russian newspaper. So it was an amazing project. I really liked it. I had a very good connection and communication with the owner of this newspaper. And from PR manager, I became director of this newspaper. So it's everything from printing to advertising. So I was going to the printing house, and I was trying to understand how this machine works, how to make colors better, and so what type of paper we need to choose. I was speaking to many clients, trying to get adverts, but also to make these adverts work. Because I believe in the long-term relationship, not just to take 100 euro today, but to take 100 euro number of years. So I learned a lot. And the owner of that newspaper said, I'm leaving back to Egypt. You may continue. That's considered yours. But Arabic is not my native language. I don't speak Arabic. English is not my native language. So I didn't feel comfortable to become an owner of a newspaper in Arabic language. And at the same time, VESTNIK KIPRA was in a very interesting position. The owners of the newspaper, they never dealt with the newspaper itself. They just had shares, and everything was arranged by editor of VESTNIK KIPRA. And she was at that time, she was planning to immigrate to Canada. She got hold of the documents, so the newspaper should be closed. And she was my student. I was teaching French to her because Canada, she was going to a French part of Canada. She said, listen, why don't you take VESTNIK KIPRA if you don't feel comfortable in what's happening in your life? This is a Russian language newspaper. You will run it the way you want because the shareholders do not interfere. So I went to the shareholders and they explained to me, yes, we do not interfere, but also we don't have money. You need to generate your income yourself. So you need to have your salary. And I also had my husband with me. He was a computer engineer. In the newspaper, he was this computer design layout. And my friend, who was an editor, she was preparing text. So I needed 3 salaries, not 1. And I was said that, okay, we can give you shares, but salary you need to earn yourself. And I agreed. And that was another difficult decision because 3 of us, we lived in the same flat to save some money at that time. Yeah. And my daughter was there. So 4 of us, and 4 people depended on how fast I will make this newspaper to generate income and to pay us salary. We were the first and the only employees. Except us, there was only 1 secretary. That's it. So 23 years ago, I started VESTNIK KIPRA with a newspaper of 16 pages with no salaries and the necessity to generate income from the day one. And it was a challenge, but I'm so happy I undertook it because my life would be different maybe not worse, but different. So VESTNIK KIPRA is my baby in a way. When I came there, it was 5 years old, 6. I also celebrated 6 years already being the director of the newspaper. And then slowly, my partners, shareholders, they are older than me. They were going to retire, one of them, second of them. So I remained the only shareholder of VESTNIK KIPRA newspaper. And I need to say that I got the support all these 20 years. Actually, I never felt that the newspaper is not completely mine. I lived all my life in this newspaper. So because that was a kind of a cultural center for the Russian-speaking community, we started to organize many events around this newspaper to bring community together. People didn't have library, and Russian-speaking people read a lot. We created a library. Internet didn't exist in every house, so we had a video club so they can exchange movies. And VESTNIK KIPRA slowly, I was doing it with my own hands, became the center for those who chose Cyprus to live. That is the story.
It's amazing. I have to ask, VESTNIK, obviously KIPRA means Cyprus. What does VESTNIK mean?
It's Cyprus messenger. So the word VESTNIK is a messenger. In Greek, we say angelophoros. So that messenger that brings news.
That's amazing. And really, I think that's the key success. I mean, the more even scientific and community studies that are done, human studies, anthropological, everything, it just shows how it's a basic need. We need to feel parts of something. We need to feel intertwined with our fellow beings, and we need to feel heard and appreciated. And that's obviously what you did. You got everyone together, and not everyone was here in life. No one has always an easy time. So maybe some people were here because they had to move here. Maybe some people were struggling, and then you gave them that breath of fresh air, somewhere to go and be on the internet, somewhere to go and read a book, and that sense of security and safety.
Not only, I believe that important part of my work is to make them to feel well in Cyprus. Because imagine if you come to the country and you do not know the language. Most of them, they don't know Greek, and they did not know at that time when I was starting the newspapers, they didn't know English. So a lot of people, they were isolated from Cyprus life. How would they know what's happening in the country? So what we do on a daily basis, we translate news from Greek into Russian, and we help to integrate into the community. Limassol is cosmopolitan. There are people of so many nationalities, and we don't want them to live in ghetto. Here's Russian, these Israeli people, Lebanese people here. We don't want like it, and we don't have ghettos in Limassol. Everyone lives where there are no
together, integrated.
Yes, there are no areas like national areas like in other places you may find in other countries. I'm very proud of it, and I believe that there is also my stone into this wall of a nice building that we have in Limassol, that people respect each other, people can cooperate and live with each other, and people, and especially Russian-speaking people, they feel part of the community. They really love Cyprus. They really try to contribute as much as they can. For example, now, the biggest problem of Limassol, I believe, is pollution. The rubbish can be found everywhere, but it's not only that rubbish that we throw in our dustbins. It's what construction companies throw out on our rivers. You know that this complex problem cannot be solved just by individuals, because that was a policy of Limassol municipalities not to collect big items or to increase the fees. But you may see how much the Russian-speaking community contributes to this. They have cleanup. Every weekend you will find a company of people or an organization that is organizing itself, NGO, that is cleaning the place. So they feel they belong to this place. They want to do their best. And I think this is the best indicator of how people feel here. They feel that Cyprus is part of them, and they want to contribute and to do something for this island. That's why, answering your question, it's not only for them to feel comfortable among them, to communicate. It's not only to keep their culture, language, and traditions, we help, but it's also to feel part of bigger Cyprus.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that and for everything you do. I have so many things I want to and I am going to ask you, but I want to rewind once again because I am still intrigued at the influence or what happened. We gathered at 10 years old, you were already a determined young Natalia. But what made you become that determined? Was it an influence of your parents? You already said your mom was, a big influence and helped you, push you to study. Was there something else when you were younger that really made you so resilient, so determined to succeed, to take challenges?
It's not to succeed. I had a challenge to stay healthy and to be able to walk. When I was a child, I had a sport trauma, and doctors predicted that by the age of 18, I will be in the wheelchair, so I wouldn't be able to move. And first 3 years after this trauma, I was following the advice of all the doctors, and I went to different clinics and different rehabilitation centers. But still my spine, it was a problem with the spine. Still my spine did not recover the way I want. So it was going to the fact that it will be worse and worse with age. And I think the character of a person is formed when there is a difficulty which seems that it's not possible to be solved. So in my time, the crisis was about when I was 12, maybe 13 years old. At my time, I was saying that I'm not only will be continuing walking, I will be dancing. So I was dancing a little bit, not professionally, a little bit. I had pain in my back and so on. But one day I decided, no, I don't want to sit in the wheelchair the rest of my life. And I started to practice professional dance. And professional dance, when you have a spine problem, that's not only tears. That's a pain that it seems you cannot bear. So I was practicing 4 hours a day, 7 days a week. And because of that, I became stronger. I understand that I can bear the pain and I can reach the result. I never became a star in dancing. Until now, I still have a spine problem. I cannot bend. But because I was practicing every day, minimum 4 hours, teaching other people not to give up, explaining to them that even with a trauma that doctors believe I cannot walk, I'm dancing, that made me not only persuade myself that I can, but be able to persuade others that they can. And when I said to you I was famous in my native town, part of it was because my students, the kids that I was teaching, they were winning competitions. And people who did not know me, they could not understand why they are winning. Because they had this winning mood. Because every day I was proving to them with my example that I can, and I was explaining to them that they can. They just need a little bit more of patience and to be devoted to what they do. So I saw the result immediately. There are people in life, those who are long runners, they can run marathon, and those who are short distance runners, sprinters, I'm from those. I'm tired very quickly. But when I run with full power. If I do something, I do with full devotion. Yes, I will, let's say, when we speak about running, I will fall down afterwards. I will be a little bit there, down, and then I get up and a new marathon, but not marathon, sprinter, distance, small one. So that's how I love. I like to live, and that's how I lived from the childhood. I think that these two challenges, first is to prove that I can study the languages and I can learn French. It changed my career. But the fact that I was sick and I needed to recover changed my approach to challenges and to life as a whole.
I love that. What a truly inspirational story. And we've said this before on this podcast, so many people's stories are someone else's survival guide. And I'm sure that it will definitely inspire everybody who listens to it now. But you've just said it helped inspire so many of your students to do well because you literally were leading by example. That's incredible.
And it helped me in my life. I had many difficulties, but I didn't give up with one reason. I knew I was confident and I am confident that every time when it seems to you that there is no solution or you cannot overcome this difficult, there is a way. You just need to find it.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that as well. So let's talk a little bit about your book. I'm very privileged to have a copy of your book at home. I know you did that at a celebratory time of your life. I think you'd been in Cyprus 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
So how did you decide to celebrate this landmark occasion of 20 years in Cyprus? Did you decide to write a book? Tell us a little bit about that.
Actually, we celebrate every year.
Yeah.
I remember the date when I came to Cyprus. It was 12th of September. So every year, our family, 12th of September, celebrates that we came to Cyprus because we love it.
I love that. That's such a celebration of life.
Yes, and so we didn't miss even 1 year. My son was born here. For him, it's a motherland. But for me and my daughter, we came here. She was 3 when we came. So we celebrated every year. And when the 20th anniversary was approaching, I thought that, okay, 20. I need to celebrate with friends. And it was so nice surprise for me when I started to make a list of people I want to see. I had about 150 people. I understood that I have so many friends I would like to share my happiness with. So 150 guests. Okay, I understood that I need to print posters with some of our magazines with some nice photos that I had during these 20 years and so on. But usually when you come to attend an event like this, when you are going out, they give you a small gift. What are the options? Some stationery, usually, or some nice flowers or what? And I said to myself that the best gift I can give to my friends is to describe my 20 years experience. Because it's only me who lived through it. If I don't write it, who will know? And my experience, it was not only personal experience of a foreigner coming to another country and settling herself, and until the point that she feels that it's her country, and she feels comfortable, and her children believe that this is their motherland. I was lucky that because of VESTNIK KIPRA being editor-in-chief of Russian newspaper here, I was privileged to go to meet a lot of interesting people and to go to trips with presidents of the Republic. The first one and the changing point was when President Papadopoulos, during one of interviews, I was taking interviews from all ministers, all presidents, he asked me, do you want to travel with me to Paris? I'm going for a meeting with Kofi Annan. And for me, it was a kind of a shock because I was still at that time, it was 2005, I was still feeling myself like a girl from province. Okay, Imagine Anapa, my native town, is a province comparing to the size of Russia. So I'm talking to a president, I'm already privileged, and this is a person who was elected by the whole country, and he meets other leaders, and he has so broader views on everything. I respect it very much, President Papadopoulos. And then I will see the General Secretary of United Nations. I was so surprised. I said, yes, can I? May I? He said, yes, I will give instructions. So he gave instructions. And I was the first ever foreigner who traveled in the team of the president. So
amazing.
Other people were Cypriots and they didn't need visa. And I still remember how with my Russian passport at that time, I didn't have Cypriot citizenship. They were running to all embassies to stamp and to immigration service when we fly. So my first trip was to Paris to the negotiations on Cyprus problem. Since then, I was following the Cyprus problem solution development. And being a part of presidential team, I could choose, and it was a privilege, where to fly. Of course, when he flew to China, I went to China. It was my dream. I wanted to be a doctor who would be studying the Chinese medicine. And when on the way back, he stopped in India, I was so happy. India, that's a country I dreamed of. And I followed all the presidents. Afterwards, President Papadopoulos' term was finished, and President Christofias, President Anastasiadis, when they were flying to countries that I'm interested in, former Soviet Union countries, China or India, or United Nations thing, I was traveling with them. And in the book, I wrote about it, my interviews with them. But when I wrote about the experience of trips, I realized that my readers do not know Cyprus presidents. They don't know who they are, personalities of them, how they were elected, why. And in the book, I included the chapter on each president. And then explaining about my work, I understood they don't know about VESTNIK KIPRA. All right, I wrote a history of VESTNIK KIPRA since its creation until that moment. I added to the book, and the book became a very thick book. It was like 20 years in Cyprus, in the center of everything, because I was really privileged to be in the center of Cyprus politics, although I'm not involved, but I was observing it. International relationship, I was not involved, but I was traveling next to the president, listening all these conversations, and also because of VESTNIK KIPRA in the community life. So I could witness the transformation of the local Russian-speaking community, how it was growing, how it was established, to which it came. I was so happy that I could work on this book, as to structure my thoughts, and then to present it as a gift instead of a pen at the exit. I presented it as a gift to the guests who celebrated with me my 20th anniversary.
It was beautiful, and it was a lovely event. I go to so many events, and I always remember that event because I think it was, again, we go back to genuine, honest, and just full of love. And it was really nice. And it was a beautiful day as well, I remember.
Yes, thank you.
So let's talk. We've touched on it so much, but what is it that you love about Cyprus the most? I mean, you've mentioned so many things already, but if you had to sum it up or give an elevator pitch to someone, what would you say are the best things about Cyprus, and maybe more specifically about Limassol?
People. I think they say these beautiful words that Russians and Cypriots have common mentality, similar mentality. They have common religion, they respect each other, history, culture. But I think the really important part is how people treat you. Cypriots are very kind. This genuine hospitality that you feel when you come to Cyprus, the way how they treat strangers, how they love children, all children. It's not only about your children. It's about any children in the room. It's about all children in the beach. You love them all. So I think that some foreigners coming to Cyprus, they are even puzzled with these genuine feelings that they have that's from people they don't know. So I was surprised. I think this feeling is also for anyone who live in the south. So, there are people who live in the north. They are more reserved. Yes, they keep their face. Their feelings are hidden somewhere inside. And the feelings of people who live in the south, and especially on the islands like Cyprus, you can read them from their face. They have bad mood. They will tell you they have bad mood. They will shout. In 5 minutes, they will hug you because they have good mood. And they already forgot that 5 minutes ago, they were angry with you. They were ready to kill you because you are not good. Now you are their best friend because they are always genuine from what they feel, they expressed. And this was the most important for me 20 years ago now.
That's so lovely. So tell us maybe your book, but what is your favorite book? I love asking people this question. If you have a favorite book or books, or maybe a favorite quote or a mantra that you love living by, or something that, you think of. Yeah. What would you say? Favorite book or quote?
Yes, quotes played an important part in my life because I liked reading them. If you come home to my home, you will see books of different quotes of different people. I cannot say that I have something really outstanding that I could remember now. But regarding the books, from the very childhood, I liked the books about adventure, like Jules Verne. I read it in Russian and then in French later on. And I like those books that shows to us our future possibilities, like this gentleman, Jules Verne. He invented lift or submarine or whatever, some things that he could just imagine. And I really like those authors who could imagine something that becomes true afterwards. So if you speak about favorite books, I would say the books that they can predict our future. And now I need to mention the books by Israeli author Harari. Harari. He was the last one is like 21 lessons for 21st century, but the most famous is the History of Future. His book is History of Future. So that's really interesting when a person looks at everything which is happening, which was happening to us, and you learn the lessons now and which will happen. So the History of Future.
Wow. Must look that one up. Thank you so much. Okay, so time for the bonus question. So all the team, well, we're running out of questions here, but
Okay.
Shall I read it to you? So the crystal bowl has questions from our staff. And then, oh, that's nice. I don't know who asked this one, but they've said, describe your perfect vacation.
This is easy. It should be a trip because I love traveling. During these years, while in Cyprus, I visited more than 40 countries, and I was trying to count destinations. I cannot, 200 maybe, destinations. But my favorite way to travel is to travel by cruise ship, because you take your luggage, you have your room, and every morning you wake up in a new place that you can explore. And every afternoon you come back to the cruise ship and everything is organized. You have your shows, your library, your children. I always travel with children. My children next to me. So you have nice life. But every morning you have a new surprise and you explore something. Before COVID, my last trip before COVID was a trip to Japan. And we went 3 families of friends with our children. And before traveling there, we were reading the books about Japanese culture, about history. But we were so much surprised with people characters. So it was so educational that I'm waiting with impatience when the cruise industry will come back to its normal. So if you go for a cruise, you are confident that every port will accept you, nothing serious will happen. And then my ideal holidays is to be on a cruise ship, which visits every country on the way. And when I was preparing for my 45th birthday, it's passed already. It was during the COVID time. I was prepared to buy a cruise, worldwide cruise. So I emptied 4.5 months in my scheduler, and I should travel from Italy, then to the Atlantic Ocean, to Indian Ocean, and through America, come back to Cyprus.
The round the world cruises,
So it takes 4.5 months, so 4.5. And I'm sure that sooner or later I will do it, because that's will give me a lot of new thoughts and information. And imagine, you go around the globe in the cruise ship, you stop everywhere, you study new culture, new people, new impressions. That's a dream holiday.
Definitely for you. I mean, I think for a lot of people, but for you, you're not one. I could never imagine you just sitting on a beach and doing nothing. You have a thirst for knowledge and to learn people and cultures. And I can imagine you'd love it. Thank you so much, Natalia. This has been one of the most interesting episodes on Hotel Talk. I love everything you've said and your enthusiasm about what you've done, and always the positive take that you can give to anything, even hardships and hard times, that you can always turn those challenges into positive opportunities. And I think so many people can benefit from that. So thank you for sharing so many details of your life.
You mentioned the most important word, positivity. I'm really a positive person. For me, it's important. And I hope that people who listen to us now, they will also try to look at everything which happens to them from the positive point of view. There is always a solution, even when it seems that it's very hard and there is no way out. So if you look at your life positive, you make life of people who are around you brighter. And that is the meaning of life, actually, to improve your own mood, but by being so positive, also to improve the life of people who are around you.
The ripple effect. So true. That's what I tell my kids as well. For every problem, there's a solution. That's, I think, one of my favorite mottos I say in the hotel as well. They're probably sick of it, but it's true. For every single problem there is, you can find a solution and find a way out. So thank you so much. On that note, wishing you all the best. I'm sure we're going to see lots of you in St. Raphael. Everybody, you can get in touch with Natalia. We're going to put her, all her social media contacts and so much more in the show notes. Natalia, thank you.
Thank you.